What's happening, sports fans? Welcome to the DJ B Long Studio Sports Fanatics Podcast. Presented to you by the one and only, of course, only one. DJ B Long in this case. For the full-length version, you can find me on my YouTube channel. That's DJ B longstudio.com. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Notification, as I like to say. Yeah, you can follow me on TikTok for the 10-minute condensed version. Needless to say, I will be dropping some of the hottest breaking news, giving you that street insight without PC bullshit. Yeah, no PC bullshit, nothing here. On occasion, with a guest that I might bring on the show with me, but today I'm flying solo. Yes, solo. Anyway, who am I? Well, let's just say I'm the Duke Jock on the Blizzak. One and only one, of course, B-Long. And here's what I got for you. So let's get this party crack-a-lacking. I'm going to stop the music there for you now. We got a show for you today, and I think we're going to have quite a few different opinions on it as from the listeners. And, obviously, you can kind of tell the direction I'm going in at this point in time. But the topic today is, who is the greatest NBA player of all time? Who is the GOAT? Is it Michael Jordan? Or is it LeBron James? Now, I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons that Jordan lovers, all y'all that's on Jordan Jock, one of the biggest reasons y'all throw in this argument in someone's face is that he is undefeated in the NBA Finals and has 6 rings. Can't dispute that. Definitely can't dispute that. But I say to you that if you're going to hang your hat on that to determine who the GOAT is, then you know what? You need to find a new hat rack. Because I'm going to drop some facts on you that you probably not aware of. And that's why you sticking on Jordan's jock. But anyway, did you know there are 31 players? 31 that have gone undefeated and won in an NBA Finals. 31 that's gone undefeated. I mean, they have no glitches, no losses. But even with that being said, believe this if you want to or not, 9 of those 31 players have more total rings than Michael Jordan do. 9 of them got more total rings than Michael Jordan do. Y'all remember this guy right here? You remember this guy? Some of you might be a little bit too young to remember him, but that's the infamous Bill Russell. Bill Russell played with the Boston Celtics, of course. They're in the finals right now, going up against Dallas. Who you got? I don't know. I think I'm rooting for Dallas. But anyway, Bill Russell played for the Celtics. Bill Russell won 12, not 1, not 2, not 5, not 7. He won 12 NBA titles, twice as many as Jordan. Now, Jordan won 6, but Bill Russell won 12. Should Bill Russell, be considered the greatest of all time if you're gonna base it on rings? Jordan's is not the only one that actually went 6-0 in the finals. He's not the only one. Y'all probably not aware of this either. Again, maybe a little bit dated for you, some of you, but Google it. Google keeps history of everything. If you want to challenge the facts, Google it. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, Jordan is not the only one that went to finals and was 6-0. Now, should those, as I mentioned, should those other guys be mentioned in the GOAT conversation? As a matter of fact, you probably don't even know this guy. Some of you do, some of you don't. It's John Havlicek, another Boston Celtic. What about Tom? What about Tom Sanders? What about Tom Sanders right here? You know him? Probably not. Again, a Boston Celtic. What about this guy? I'm sure you probably heard his name at some point in time. You should have, if you pay any attention to basketball, you should have heard this guy's name at some point in time, and that's K.C. Jones. K.C. Jones. Okay, each one of those guys went 8-0 in league championship series. Again, if you're basing it on rings, that's two more than Jordan had. He went 8-0. He went 6-0. They went 8-0. Now, a lot of you don't even know who these people are, but Google it. And based on your premise, shouldn't they be considered the GOAT since they undefeated and they actually won two more playoff series than Jordan? I'm just saying. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. And again, as I mentioned, there are 9 players that actually top the amount of rings that Jordan had. Y'all remember this guy here? Big Bob. Yeah, Big Bob. They call it Big Bob. Robert Horry is his name. Big Bob was his nickname. Now, he was notorious for knocking down game-winning shots. And these game-winning shots were on the biggest stages that you can get on in the NBA. And guess what? Robert Horry was 7-0 in the finals. 7-0, one more than Jordan. For y'all that want to stick on that 6-ring thing, undefeated. Okay. Oh, of course, yeah, he was MVP too. But there's a good reason why, he was MVP. He was a bad boy. I give that to him. But don't get it twisted. Now, let me ask you, since we're gonna base this on rings, do you guys and girls out there feel like that Robert Horry should be considered, or does he qualify for the GOAT status? I don't know. You tell me. If it's all about the rings, then the answer to that got to be yes. It's got to be yes. Now, y'all Jordan lovers out there, I'm gonna say this to you. Y'all need to get off that ring shit if that's all you got. Okay? Y'all need to get off that ring shit if that's all you got. Is that all you got? If that's all you got, well, I know y'all gonna say, "Oh yeah, well yeah, he was MVP." Okay, that's cool. He was the MVP. And by the way, remember, I don't know if y'all remember this guy right here. He had a lot to do with that. He had a lot to do with it. And guess what? As quiet as it's kept, Scottie Pippen is 6-0 in the NBA Finals. Scottie Pippen was also 6-0 in the NBA Finals. How many of you knew that? Probably not many, because Jordan overshadowed him. But he was 6-0. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you have several people that have more rings than Jordan and went undefeated in the finals. You had John Havlicek, K.C. Jones, Tom Sanders, of course, Big Bob, Robert Horry. He was 7-0 in the finals. He didn't lose a game either. And of course, then you got Michael Jordan at 6-0. But again, the quiet secret in all that is Scottie Pippen was also 6-0. So y'all Jordan fans don't get it twisted. If Jordan wasn't by himself, for those of you say Jordan did this with no help, I say to you are full of manure. Full of manure. Okay. Now I give it to Jordan a little bit there. I mean Jordan was a bad boy, no doubt about it. But he had three other Hall of Famers on that team during this time with him. He had three other Hall of Famers. Okay. So he wasn't riding a solo pony. He wasn't riding that horse by himself. Remember, Jordan got swept a couple of times before Pippen got there. Okay. He got swept in the playoffs a couple of times. And let's not forget some of them other stars he had on that team. Y'all remember Dennis Rodman? Okay. Y'all definitely remember Dennis Rodman. What about Horace Grant? Y'all remember Horace Grant? Yeah, you remember Horace Grant. So, well, this team is seen to be stacking a little bit now. Jordan, like I said, Jordan had a whole lot of help. LeBron had some help in his days when he came down to Miami. Him, Bosh, and D Wade, they did their things, but let's not get it twisted. Jordan had a whole lot of help himself. Okay, I mean, you can go down to B.J. Armstrong, Bill Cartwright, Stacey King, Tony Kukoc. Jordan wasn't a lone stranger in that party. Now I give it to him, as I mentioned, he do have two more rings than LeBron, and that's it. If you're shallow enough minded to say that is what makes him the GOAT because he got more rings, then I already should have dispelled that for you right away when I told you about the other people that had more rings than Jordan and were undefeated. Okay. So your definition for being the greatest of all time is skewed. Ask yourself, what do you consider the difference between great and greatest to you? Without the emotions, what do you consider great and greatest? What's the difference? Well, I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna tell you a little bit. I'm gonna break it down for you a little bit here. What's the difference? We got. We had some guys out there that was names been thrown around quite a bit. But if you're gonna fall back on that ring shit, then it's clear that you don't know a damn thing about the intricacies of being the greatest of what you do. Because if you did, you would know that the title, the greatest, encompass more than just your tunnel vision, and your tunnel vision is being directed by your emotions. But let me help. Let me tell you a little bit about this tunnel vision. But keep in mind, there's also what we call peripheral vision. Let me help you with your peripheral vision. Let me give you a hand with that peripheral vision, okay? I'll start with the all-time stats. The all-time stats, the analytics. Okay. All-time stats from the regular season. And that's just so I can kill two birds with one stone, basically. I can kill two birds with one stone. I'm gonna add Kobe stats also for all you Kobe lovers out there, just so I can shut y'all up with y'all delusional minds, thinking Kobe. Kobe don't even belong in this conversation. If you ask me, I would put Kareem before him. All due respect and to Kobe, and rest in peace, Kobe. But you really don't belong in this conversation. But anyway, we'll see what got going on here in the regular season. Let's just talk a little bit about here some stats in the regular season, okay? LeBron James obviously is the scoring leader in the NBA right now, with NBA history. But what a lot of people don't realize is LeBron James for the regular season, his field goal percentage was better than Jordan. He shot 50%, Jordan shot 49. And for those of you out there, oh, LeBron can't shoot a three. He don't know. He be bricking. News flash for you. Once again, LeBron shot 34% from the three-point line. And Michael shot 32. So much for Michael being a better three-point shooter, right? We're talking about career. Okay, we're not talking about season, we're talking about career. And again, too, if you want to just, again, facts. This is all regular season. Everybody talk about how Jordan was an assassin. Well, I tell you, LeBron was a ninja. Okay, Jordan, Kobe was an assassin too, but LeBron was a ninja. All right. So with those stats, let's talk about rebounding. Anybody ever talk about Jordan rebounding? How well of a rebound he was? Well, guess what? LeBron got 5,000 rebounds more than Jordan had. 5,000 more. That's including offensive and defensive. Okay. 5,000 more rebounds. And I know some of you are going to say, well, he played for 6 years longer, 5 years longer. Jordan was never known as a rebounder. Okay. I don't care when he played and where he played. He was never known as a rebounder. LeBron leads the league in that position. Not necessarily the league, but between him, Jordan, and Kobe. I mean, he outshadows Kobe by 5,000-6,000 rebounds. But Kobe, again, Kobe don't even belong in this conversation. As I mentioned, I would put Kareem there before him. Now, again, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, total rebounds. Well, listen, people talk about, well, wow, Jordan, he was an assassin. He would attack. Well, you know what? So would LeBron. That's how he got to 40,000, 41,000 and counting right now points. That's how he's able to lead the league in scoring history. We're not talking about 2 seasons ago or season. We're talking about his story. And this story is about LeBron, who is indeed the GOAT. Now, we know how Kobe and Mike love to chuck it up. But LeBron has nearly 6,000 more assists. 6,000. Put that in your grinder and grind it. 6,000 more assists than Jordan. That soak in for a minute. So LeBron wasn't just a scorer. He was dishing that rock too. And he dished it at least 6,000 more times than Jordan did. That's how close Jordan, if you want to call it close, that Jordan was. Now, Jordan had a little bit better free throw percentage than LeBron. We'll give him that. But, steals wise, Jordan had about 300 more steals than than LeBron. But if you're talking about defense and guarding your man and D'ing your man up, LeBron had 400 more blocks. And that number is steady going up because LeBron is still balling. Okay? LeBron's still balling. So he had 400 more blocks than Jordan. That was in the regular season, by the way. Okay? And I'm gonna run some stuff by you for the playoffs, because for those of you out there, and I know you out there, I know you true haters will say that this was a regular season and it didn't mean shit. I say to you, let's take a look at how his numbers stacked up and compared to Jordan and Kobe in the playoffs. Okay? For those of you that want to go that route. In the playoffs, again, LeBron outscored Jordan by nearly 3,000 points. In the playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking playoffs? Yes, the playoffs. LeBron shot 49% and Jordan shot 48%. And if you want to throw Kobe in there, he shot 44%. So once again, that premise about Jordan King is a better shooter, Kobe was a better shooter. Man, they were ball hawks. They chucked them up. They wasn't bashful about any kind of shot. That's why LeBron really crushed him with the assist as well. Now, from the 3-point range, they all shot 33%. So they were fairly. This is in the playoffs. They were fairly close to each other in that regards. Rebounding, once again, it ain't even close. It ain't even close. LeBron doubled what Jordan did. He doubled and damn near tripled what Kobe did. But he doubled what Jordan did when it came to rebounds. This is in the playoffs, people. This is in the playoffs. Okay. Assist wise, again, same thing. He doubled those guys with the assist. And he played 20 something years. Listen, LeBron was playing when he got out of high school. He came straight out of high school. All right. We all know the story. Got it, he took the Lakers, the Heat, and the Spurs. Not the Spurs, but the Cleveland to the finals. But with that being said, again, in the playoffs, LeBron, once again, he was the defense's juggernaut. He had 275 blocks, and that number is steady rising. That as long as he stepped on that floor, he's setting history and making history every time he stepped on the floor. Jordan had 158 blocks while in the playoffs. We always talk about that shooting percentage, but LeBron James shot 58% in the playoffs. Michael Jordan shot 56%. Okay. And of course, Kobe, bringing up the rear, shot 54%. As I mentioned to you, I think Kareem should be in this conversation more so than Kobe, but that's just my opinion. Now, some of the other things that LeBron has done that no other player has done. Not to say, no other player, but Jordan never did. Okay. Now, no other player actually. Well, yeah, I take that back. He did. There may be a couple players that won with 3 different teams, or I think Ori won with 3 different teams, but Jordan never did. Jordan never did. Oh, he played with Chicago. Well, let's not forget now. Jordan decided he needed a break, so he went and played baseball for a couple of years, and so he really didn't play as long as we give him credit for it. But he came back. They three-peated. We give him that credit. But in his waning years, when he went to decide to go to the Washington Wizards, with Washington, I believe they were the Washington Bullets at that time, maybe Wizards. Jordan was lucky to average 15 points a game in his last year. He didn't do nothing with that team. He was just in the way. Really, he was in the way. And again, LeBron has won NBA championships with not 1, not 2, but 3 teams, 3 different teams. Okay. And when we talk about LeBron, we talk about his defense and who's a better defender, him or Jordan. Well, when the last time you seen Jordan guard a center? Tell me, please. Go back over your film and footage and Google. Tell me whenever you saw Jordan guard a center. LeBron James could guard all 5 positions on the court, including center. Did y'all not watch the last series? Even though Denver put it in them, but LeBron was playing Jokic. He was playing the Joker. And it just so happened Jokic has won not 1, not 2, but 3 back-to-back MVPs, and LeBron was guarding. Like I said, when you talk great and greatest, you really got to look past some certain things and look at the totality of it. You just don't get to be the greatest by being great. You got to be great at everything or more things. And I'll break that down for you a little bit too, as well. Okay. Now, after all these facts, and there are more, but I'm not gonna bore you with it. After all these facts, I just hit you across the head with there's no way, no reasonable minded person can agree with the fact that LeBron James is the greatest of all time in NBA history. And you know what? The craziest thing about that all is that he has not put his pencil down yet. He is still writing history. About to turn 40 years old. He's still writing history, playing in the league for 20 years. Still writing. Still got that pen in his hand. Ink still wet. All you LeBron haters out there, get your lips off of Jordan's you know what. Get your lips off of it. Come up for some air, man. Come up for some air. Take a deep breath. Then swallow. Swallow the fact that LeBron James is indeed, without a doubt, the greatest NBA player of all time. He is the GOAT. And as you can see there, Kareem is actually passing that torch. Who was, in my opinion, a close third in that conversation with LeBron, Michael, and then Kareem. Like I said, passing that torch to the real man. Y'all want to dispute these facts? I mean, you can do them. It's so easy nowadays to tell if your homeboy talking shit or he don't know what he's talking about and he just running his mouth. You can always verify that stuff right away. You know what I'm saying? You can verify it right away. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I felt like it was some of the keys to being the GOAT. Okay. There you have Michael and Kobe. They're trying to figure out, damn, they probably saying it to themselves, damn, that LeBron is a bad brother. That young kid is a beast. You think that's what they're talking about? They're probably talking about that. You know, if they weren't, they should have been. They should have been. LeBron James, indeed, is the greatest of all time, as I mentioned to you. Okay. Now listen, being crowned the greatest of all time it's kind of like a pinnacle of any athlete, anybody that's doing whatever you may be doing in life. If you got a career and you got a craft, everybody want to be the greatest. There's people want to be the greatest actor. People that fly an airplane want to be the greatest fighter pilot. Okay, I mean everybody want to be you might want to be the greatest customer service rep, if that's measurable. But anyway, longevity is a key when you're factoring in the greatest over so many years. You can't just be a flash in the pan. You can't just do this for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Nah. LeBron, like I mentioned, he's setting records. He's still writing history. I don't even know if there's another player that's not going to pay 20 years. And I still think he got 2 more good years left in him. Especially if he hook up with his son, you know what I'm saying? Bronny, who knows what's going to happen? But we finna see a different kind of history. Again, something that has never been done. So I don't think Jordan can say anything like that. And God rest his soul. Kobe had 2 girls, so we know that that won't come from his DNA. But longevity is one, and then of course stats and awards. The numbers are hardware that measures excellence. Stats and awards, the analytics. Okay, the analytics. Again, people harp on Jordan with his rings, but when you start looking at the stats and the awards, it's not really even comparable. It's not comparable. LeBron outshined Jordan easily when it comes to that competition. Now you can say, each era has played a different brand of basketball, but you can't tell me, that people say, oh, if Jordan played now, he'd be scoring 50 points a game. That's bull. That's bull. Because coaches would scheme to a point where he can't score 50 points. He'll have to get that rock up. Okay. The greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry. That's what they say. He ain't scoring 50 points a game. But anyway, if you think LeBron can't play in that era, you better think again. If you think LeBron can't play and dominate in that era, and I know he'll dominate because those bigs back then, the 4s and the 5s, the 3s, they couldn't stay with him. They wouldn't have been quick enough. Not quick enough. And if you want to try to put a guard on him, again, a lot of small guards back in the day until Magic came along, they ain't strong enough. So there's no doubt in my mind that LeBron James would dominate in any era of basketball. Any era, okay? Now, context, let's talk about context, how they impacted or changed their sport and influenced its evolution. No doubt, Jordan, he changed the sport. He changed the sport. He changed the damn rules, that's for sure, because the NBA came up with their own set of rules for him. I don't know if they did that for anybody else, but he damn sure had them change the rules. They call them the Jordan rules, just for Michael Jordan. Okay. Now, as far as LeBron is concerned, his impact and how he's changed the sport, he let the kids know you can do it all. You don't just have to be a great 3-point shooter. You don't just have to be a great dunker. You don't just have to be a great rebounder. You don't just have to be a great scorer. You can do it all. And that's exactly what he's laid down. That's the blueprint to him being the greatest of all time. Now, style and flair, I got to get that to Jordan. I mean, Jordan, we love to see Jordan go up with the one hand patting at the dunk, the logo, for his Air Jordans. But he definitely had the style and the flair and the wow factor that captured fans' imaginations. But if you look at LeBron, he was able to dunk over some people too. I mean, y'all remember that series against Detroit? Well, look here. Y'all remember that series against Boston when Miami played Boston? I think it was game 3 or 4. He had that crazy look in his eyes. Yes, sir. Boston was getting out the way. But anyway, flair and style, I give Jordan the edge on that one. I give him the edge on that one and stuff. That's not a problem. But consensus, the agreement from some so-called experts, former athletes, coaches, homeboy and them standing on the corner in the barbershop, that GOAT phrase, it's the totality. The totality. That means everything they did on the court, everything that was pertinent to basketball. Okay. That deemed them the greatest. And again, like I said, it don't matter what you do in life. I mean, you can you be a great car mechanic, but all you work on is Hondas. Then you got to Joe down there, Joe Blow down the street there. He's great at working on Hondas. He's great at working on Cadillacs. He's great at working on Chevys. He's great at working on BMWs. He's great at quite a few things. But would you consider him the GOAT, or would you consider the guy that just only was great on making, repairing Hondas? Who would you say would be the greatest in that scenario? Well, again, this is LeBron James and Michael Jordan we're talking about. LeBron James is, to me, the greatest player of all time. And we all reserve our own right, right to our own opinion, and that's fine. He has dominated NBA since he came into the league. He came in the league at a young age of 18 years old. 18 years old. As Stephen A. would like to say, breath still smelling like Similac. Okay? But definitely not old enough to buy a drink, or buy a bottle of wine, or a glass of wine for that matter. Fresh out of high school. When James came into the league, he was looked at as the chosen one. He didn't give himself that name. He was looked at the chosen one. And guess what? He was the one who took that mantle from Jordan. He took it from him. And he did. Now, LeBron has done things that no other player before him has been able to do. Okay? No player has been able to do. Does does that give him a slight edge on the GOAT status? I mean, when I say no player, that means Jordan too. Jordan never did it. But anyway, uh, LeBron, as I mentioned, he carried I don't want to say a decrepit Cleveland Cavalier team, but if you put a G League team up against them now, they probably would have beat that team without LeBron. I'm sure they would have beat that team without LeBron. But anyway, LeBron carried that team to the NBA Finals all on his own. Basically, a G League team. Now he defeated not one, but two of the league's greatest dynasties for championships, and by beating San Antonio, the Spurs, and the Golden State Warriors. I would put you got Boston up there too. Boston would probably be ranked above those two teams. Then we would drop LA in there, but he plays for LA. Okay, but he beat the Spurs and the Golden State Warriors. Now the Spurs came back that one year and put a butt whooping on them, but that's not the point here. He beat those two of the greatest dynasties. And we all know Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and them boys was considered, especially when they had Durant, was considered one of the greatest dynasties. People try to place them in that dynasty conversation. Now he also brought a championship to the Cleveland Cavaliers, that G League team, after a 52-year championship drought. So Cleveland hadn't been in a playoff or even won a championship in 52 years. Not only has James accomplished these great things, but he's also plays at a higher level and a more well-rounded level than anyone in history. Okay, anyone in history. And keep in mind, key words: well-rounded. He wasn't just great at one thing. And he didn't lead Michael Jordan in just one thing, even though Michael Jordan led him in the rings. I mean, MVPs in the finals. But Bill LeBron had 4 MVPs in the final. 4 different teams. Jordan only had that one. Well, those 6 MVPs actually, but it was with the same team. He couldn't duplicate that effort when he went to the Wizards. LeBron did it with 4 teams. I mean, listen, I don't know how much I got to say to you guys, Angers out there, that the greatest of all time is who he is. It's when you look at a well-rounded level, James can do it all. He can score on any given night. He can rebound on ball, and he is the greatest passing forward in league history. More assists than anybody as a forward. Now he currently is the only player in the league history that sits in the top 10 for points scored and assists. And you imagine that, you're the only player in the league to record, well, over 41,000 points and 10,000 rebounds. 10,000 assists. He's at 11,000 assists. As a matter of fact, at this point, and 9,000 and 11,000. Well, what is it? 9,000 rebounds. James is also the all-time leading scorer, as I mentioned, in NBA history. All-time leading scorer for somebody who's not considered a scorer. Okay, all he do is make the right basketball play. Now, James recently finished playing his 20th season, and oh, by the way, he made the 3rd NBA All-NBA team. He made the 3rd All-NBA team in his 20th season. Can you imagine that? So what does that tell you? His game is still at a top level. He made the 3rd team for All-NBA. Now, he's arguably the best player in the league, and is unarguably a top 5 player. There's probably a couple other players you might want to put ahead of him as far as being the best, but there's not too many, even at his age. Now, he's dominated in his youth, he dominated in his prime, and now in his latter years, he's still dominating. Okay, when the game is on the line, of course, even if he doesn't win, he is probably going to be the best player on the floor at that particular time. Now, Jordan actually, outside of basketball, Jordan and LeBron did some great things for the communities. They really did. They did things that impact the world in a positive manner. They talk about LeBron, the school he created in his hometown, Akron. I don't recall. I don't. Well, maybe he capping on the DL, but I don't recall Michael Jordan doing anything like that. A matter of fact, that is specifically made for the students. His school was specifically made for students who come from poor and broken homes. What he did was guarantee each of those students a full ride scholarship if they graduated through the school. They had to graduate, so they had that nugget hanging over their head. Now, this helped 2,300 kids who probably would never went to going to college, or maybe not even graduate high school, get a college education when they may not have previously had a chance. Okay, and again, they both advocated for African Americans against police brutality. I don't know. Well, you know what? I can't really say if that was something Jordan did, because Jordan was on the DL. Fortunately for him, they didn't have social media at the time, because you guys would have learned a whole lot of dirt about Jordan had they had it, starting with the gambling. Okay, there was a whole lot of mess going on with that. Now, but they both, play positive roles to the communities when they could, and they both donated money to charities, different charities when they could. But LeBron was more outspoken for the causes of the people. You wouldn't hear Jordan say nothing. But anyway, just give you a brief idea. We talk about some of the accolades, and then I mentioned Jordan. Jordan wasn't no slouch in the water. He was he was a bad boy. He was a bad boy, and I'm not taking nothing away from him. I'm just trying to distinguish the difference between who is really the GOAT. Okay. Now in 2003, 2004, actually LeBron, he won Rookie of the Year. Uh, and he was a 19 times, not well, more than 19 now. He's at 20. Again, he's continuously rewriting this book as he plays. Every time he step on the floor, he's rewriting the book. He's a 20-time All-Star selection, 20-time All NBA selection, including this year. People talk about his defense. He couldn't play much defense. As I mentioned to you early on, he was a 6-time All Defensive player or selection. And he's one of the few, if any, even at the age of 39, I think he's turning 40 very soon, that can play all 5 positions on the floor. Okay. Even at the age of 39. But with that being said, he is LeBron James. He led the league in scoring. For those of you who say, "Oh, he can't," Jordan was scoring 30 points a game. Well, he probably getting 2 or 3 assists. LeBron did lead the league in scoring in 2007, 2008. He was a league scoring champion, and on 2019 to 2020, he showed the other side of his skill. He was the league assist leader. While Westbrook was tearing him up, LeBron actually snuck one in there. He led the league in assists at the same time. And as I mentioned, he's a 4-time league MVP, no doubt about it. And he's a 4-time NBA champion. And as I mentioned, he a 4 times Finals MVP. Okay, so Jordan and LeBron, no doubt, made a big deal for the NBA. They were huge in the NBA. Jordan was huge in getting off, carrying it, while Larry, and Bird were coming into the league. Jordan he did his thing, but he's not the greatest of all time. Neither is this guy right here. He's not the greatest of all time either. So I would say that man right there in the middle with the yellow jersey on, he was the greatest, or is the greatest of all time. He is the greatest of all time. Okay. And with that being said, let me go ahead and try to get you guys up out of here. With that being said, as I mentioned, I'm going to bring the show to a close. Glad you took the time to join. Make sure you subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be the first to know that I'm back at it live. Remember, you can find me at dj-longsteel.com. That's the YouTube channel. And of course, DJ_BLONG on TikTok handle. I want to thank you for joining me. Hopefully I was able to shed some light on the GOAT for you. If I weren't able to share any light on the GOAT for you, then you can continue on living in the dark with that Jordan stuff. I am the one and only, and of course only one, belong. My motto is, if you're going to be in it,